My cake is delicious. Thank you, Kendo, for picking it up.
At Mama Momo. I knew you'd enjoy it, my love.
At Frosty Flames. You know, I'd enjoy something else much more.
On my way, beautiful.
At Mama Momo. What flavor was the cake?
Knowing Shoto, he probably put in a special order for a soba cake.
At Uravity. They have that?
At Frosty Flames. I think Ochako was just joking. Are you almost here?
At Mama Momo. He grabbed his laptop and started searching the web for soba cake. Apparently he found it. Now he's leaving his room. This man needs his soba.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh shit! I shouldn't have said anything.
At Uravity. It's fine, really.
Yaoyorozu curled up with a large comforter hiding her existence. Jirou made her way up to the large blanket and pat the top of it.
Didn't think there was such thing as an invisible blanket quirk, although it doesn't seem to be working.
She joked. Momo didn't move or scoff sarcastically as usual. She gave a small sniffle and tightened the blanket around her. Jirou sat down and wrapped her arms around the blanket-covered figure.
Something wrong, Momo?
Jirou tried to lift the blanket from her head, but it was pulled back down aggressively. Jirou figured there was only one solution, and if he didn't show up fast, she'd have to go through the rest of the weekend with a sad Momo. Not a happy, fun time. The door was still open, and right on cue, Todoroki walked in with a smile on his face. He noticed Jirou sitting with Yaoyorozu and gave a puzzled look, like he was having another conspiracy theory go off in his head. Jirou left Momo and Shoto in the living room as she put a pair of headphones on and left the dorm again.
Jirou, I know you're trying to be comforting, but I would prefer to be left alone.
Momo said through silent sobs. Shoto lifted the blanket off her head and cupped her cheek so that their eyes connected.
I may not qualify as an emo with an obsessive music problem, but I'm pretty sure I give better hugs than her.
Shoto purred. He moved some hair out of her face and wiped away the tears with a couple of kisses on her cheek. Yaoyorozu couldn't free her arms from the blanket to wrap around her loving boyfriend, but instead threw her head forwards to meet his soft lips.
Am I not giving you enough Shoto time?
He playfully said, kissing the top of her hair. Yaoyorozu could feel warm liquids build up in her eyes as she tried to hide the choking sound she made when laughing.
I didn't think I would ever be this clingy. Is that the right word? Whatever it is, I need you more than I thought. And with exams coming in the next month, we're both so much more busy than before, and I just don't want you to forget about me.
Momo brought her head up to give Todoroki a smile, even though the waterworks were starting.
Momo, I think of you every minute of every day. Don't forget that.
He leaned in for a kiss and was met halfway. She had finally freed her arms from the blanket surrounding her, and in turn, surrounded Shoto's neck, pulling him in closer. The door had still been open, and Koda walked by to witness the two in the moment. He carefully grabbed the doorknob and slowly closed the door, making sure no creaks were inbound. As he walked away, he could hear Yaoyorozu's voice call,
Thanks, Koji!
He began chuckling to himself while leaving the dorms. That was something he would never get the chance to feel. Love. Kaminari was standing in front of the bathroom mirror, silently judging himself. He had a fancy dress shirt with some khakis and a stretchy bisexual bracelet. He always wore it, whether it be in class, during hero training, or just casually. He knew he liked boys and girls alike since the age of 3 or 4. Everyone was just cute to him. Well, almost everyone. But right now there was only one girl he wanted to impress. He did a spin as if he was wearing a wedding dress, not noticing Shoto's sly eye and grin standing against the doorway. He walked towards Kami to fix his collar. Kami gave an annoyed sigh, as if Shoto was his mom, to which Shoto licked his hand and tried to slick the yellow hair back. Kaminari started swatting and cursing, while Todoroki playfully continued, laughing at every hand inching closer to his face. The boys finally came to a cease as Kaminari grabbed his tic-tac case and made his way to the door. Shoto was one of the many kids who were confused as to why he needed the breath mints so bad. He turned towards the dining counter, noticing a small blue bowl. In the bowl were all the tic-tacs, shining against the ceiling lights. Todoroki gave it a shake, making Denki halt at all the movement that was about to leave the room. He turned his head to see Shoto crossing his arms and genuine concern written on his face.
Denki, please don't tell me.
Shoto started before he was cut off.
It's just in case. I promise I won't be stupid.
Denki pleaded. Now he really felt like Shoto was his mom, and instead of going on a date, he was asking for permission to go on a school field trip. Shoto looked at the floor, thinking to himself,
He'll be okay. He knows his limits. Okay, just please be safe.
Todoroki said as he walked back to his room. Kaminari gave a nod and made his way out of the dorm to the front entrance of UA. He got to the entrance 5 minutes early, which was usually a miracle for him. Yet already waiting on the bench was Jirou, wearing clothes Kami had never seen before. She had switched out all her generic black attire with a white frilled shirt around the shoulders and a blue jeans skirt. She had a touch of mascara on and some eyeliner that made her look more breathtaking with every glance. Kaminari made his way over, hiding his shakiness and sparks his hands were giving off in his pockets.
Where's the black ripped jeans and metal chains?
Kami asked, giving her a small nudge to the shoulder. She gasped and hit him back, laughing it all off.
I'll have you know I own quite the variety of clothing,
Jirou deemed. She gave a little spin for him, showing off the entire outfit.
So, how do I look?
Kaminari pulled his hands out of his pockets to reveal the sporadic shocks flying everywhere. He gave a shy chuckle, making his embarrassment more noticeable.
You'd think I'd be able to control this by now, eh?
He said. Jirou tried grabbing his hands, only to pull them back immediately. The sparks were more painful than she thought, like tiny needles coursing through her hands and making their way down her arms.
Maybe later, once you've calmed down a bit,
She said, smiling, now standing next to his shoulder. Kami gave a small nudge her way and began the short trek to the diner. On the way, they laughed and joked about each other's lives, talking about the current relationships and the soon-to-come ones. They both agreed on Ojiro and Kendo being a thing, while also disagreeing about Bakugo ever being in a relationship. Kami was quite certain he could get a girl if he smartened up a little, whereas Jirou didn't think a girl would ever want to handle his attitude. The two had walked about 10 minutes before making it to what looked like, in Jirou's eyes, a run-down abandoned shack. The windows were cloudy and covered with dirt. The bricks were not your typical shade of red, and the sign on the top was flickering, giving Jirou an epileptic seizure. The front doors looked barred off, making it impossible to see anything on the inside. She started to get a little skeptical as her earjacks began pulling themselves in the opposite direction. Kami couldn't stop smiling though, as the two finally walked in.
if he knew the place was worth it, he wouldn't have taken me here.
Jirou thought, slowly taking in